Aboye. Abo Shisha Agbigba Tool for the guru phone. This is a Babo question if I could it if I died, just doing a quick little breakdown of some of the things that I do. This is Agbigba. Just want to talk about Agbigba for a quick second. About what it does, how it functions, the kinds of things that it does. Now, if you're familiar with IFA, you're probably familiar with tools such as Opole or Ikinifa or things like that. This is another type of tool that is still IFA, still dealing with the same Odu. It's just now this that's dealing with these things is not just one Odu, it's 4 lines of Odu. So because it's 4 lines, there's more insight that comes in. Doesn't discredit any other tool of IFA. It's just another type of tool that you may or may not be familiar with. So I like to talk about those things specifically in that way, so that people get a good understanding of what it is. Right? And so it's a very old tool, ancient tool, or a tool that has been used for a very long time before a lot of the other things that people may or may not even know. But it is a tool that deals with a binary code, right? So we're dealing with IFA. IFA deals with that binary code, no matter what tool you use, no matter where you are, whether you're in Benin Republic or whether in Nigeria, what they call Nigeria today, because that's a colonizer name. That's not necessarily the name that it was before. Or you're dealing with, you may be in Ghana. You may be, anywhere in and around West Africa or the diaspora, the African diaspora. You'll see different kinds of forms of IFA, and all of them are IFA. None of them is better than the other. It's just that these different lineages that come forward. So I am a Babalao a la Agbigba, or meaning a Babalao that uses the tool of Agbigba. Which again, you have 4 rows of Odu. Within those 4 lines of Odu, you have multiple angles of Odu that surround it. So it gets straight to the point. It doesn't like to waste time. It gets straight to what's going on, what's the messages, what are the things that needs to be dealt with or connected to. What are some of the taboos that may come up for the person? The person may have a direct question like, what's my destiny? What's my purpose in life? What kinds of things for business? Or should I marry this person? Or primarily just things that are, want a general reading where you can get a good understanding of the things that's coming, that things that's there. But this is, the misnomer is that any African system has it being a hocus pocus, halimatosis kind of thing. And that's not it at all. It's a binary code based off of science, based off of traditional science. Because it's pure mathematics, dealing primarily with the binary code. And same things that we see in our cell phones or in our computers, tablets, anything like that. Those are based off of binary code. Binary code is in our DNA. Binary code is in how the planets connect and disconnect. Binary code is surrounding us always in many different forms. So when we look at a tool of IFA, in this instance we're looking at Agbigba, it is like a computer system, because you plug in the information, get the person's name, their birth name, their mother's birth name, because we ask for their mother's birth name. Why? Because their mother's birth name says that this is the womb that you came out of, right? Not some other, Joe Schmo from Kalamazoo, right? But this is specifically Joe Schmo, Omo of, or child of this person, right? Of this, their mother, their mother's birth name. And so when we think about that, because so much information is laid out and connected to the things that we do on a daily basis, so nothing is haphazard or nothing is out of sync. You know, if we think about science-wise, when we think about the chaos theory and things like that, those things, it seems like it's chaotic at the forefront. But then when you look deeper, then these are consistent patterns that happen consistently over and over and over again in the same way, right? And so Ifa doesn't, you know, as a Babalawo doesn't come in and just randomly, oh, I'm having a spirit medium and I'm coming through and I'm saying this thing. No, it is based off of the Odu, the signature that comes up, and then the configuration of that figures, those signatures, and then how they place next to each other that gives us insight into the things, because there's stories, there's medicines, there's things that's in each of these Odus. And so because of that, it is not just strictly 256 Odu, it goes beyond 256 because it's binary. And things binary is constantly expanding. And so we have to think about these things in that way, because any African traditional system, specifically Ifa Agbigba, is a great body of wisdom. It's a great body of insight that aids you to balance out, or like a roadmap. When you get GPS or you do a roadmap, you're looking for things, these patterns. So these are things that keep going on. And now if you keep down this pattern or this pathway, this is how it's going to end up. But if you shift and adhere to these taboos that come up, then this is the trajectory that you'll be going down, right? So it gives insight. And so Agbigba, the difference with Agbigba is that there are male and female Odu. There are different elements that they go through and see. And then there's so much more. And plus, you don't have implements. So generally with Okwere or Ikinifa, you have these implements that you hold, the client holds in their hands. And then they go through and then they check what those implements are saying, right? But not in Agbigba, because Agbigba, in the very first throw, everything is there. It's a standalone. It needs nothing else. So when we go and we use the stopper and we see the Odu, we throw for the Odu, then we begin to see, you know, what's going on in the very first throw. So instead of just one Odu, there's 4 Odu, and then there's other angles of Odu that come up from right to left, left to right, bottom to top, top to bottom, right? And then there's the snake that binds the Odu. And then from the perspective of the Babalawo and from the perspective of the client, coming from that angle, right? And then the overarching Odus also in those same way. So in one throw, you can see a Babalawo Agbigba can see, you know, 28, 32, and beyond Odu that are there. Many different angles of Odu that exist that support the 4 primary Odu. And so it goes into these things because it gives you insight into your life. Like I said, it's like a roadmap. It gives you clarity of things that are coming, things that are going, things that in 16 days, 16 months, 16 years, it goes specifically in that order. And then it opens it up to where it gives clarity. It doesn't waste time. It gets straight to the point. And then with the difference also is that you can't wait 2 weeks, a month or 2, or when you get the money to do the Ebo, because there's a divination or a reading that happens. And then after that divination, there's an Ebo, or offering, that has to be done. So the offering is to balance things out, right? And so that's what it also talks about specifically, and how it functions and how it moves, right? And so that's why we always are trying to connect and build and grow these things in a proper way. And so when you come to a competent Babalawo, Agbigba, in this ancestral tool I'm speaking about that I use, because Babalawo means Baba Niawo, the father in the secrets, the father of the secrets. And so the female version of this would be a Ianifa, the mother in Ifa. And so that what that means is that it's a person that's fully studied, fully trained, and consistently training, because it never ends. The information of Ifa never ends, right? And so it's a person that's trained for years. In my case right now, in 2025, this was, as of 2025, it's been 18 years for me being a Babalawo, meaning someone that is fully functioning and can do a divination and do other spiritual work, cleansings, also full divinations, and Ebo, amongst many other works that are done specifically related to this Yoruba traditional system, right? And so it's really important to understand these things so that you have clarity of what's going forward. If you're going to a person and seeking out a competent Babalawo, then you want to make sure that they're well trained, that they have things in order, that they can perform that Ebo, that they do things so that it creates a very clear roadmap so that you can follow, right? So just getting the information is not enough. Now you have to do something to balance it out. And that's what that Ebo does. It gives you clarity and balances things out so that you go forward. There's things that the Babalawo does, and there's things that the client does, right? So that's what the basis of IFA Agbigba is. I want to give you a very brief understanding. If you're seeking more insight to this system of the Yoruba people of West Africa, I don't just say of Nigeria, because the traditional system goes beyond just Nigeria. But I myself was initiated in Nigeria, and I was also that's where I trained. That's where a lot of my teachers are coming from. It's from Nigeria. And so any other questions, feel free to inquire, to ask questions, because when you don't ask questions, you don't know. Odabo.